Hi, I'm Neil McMahon, Bryant Park Consulting's Configure Price Quote CPQ lead. Today, I will be laying the groundwork for what Configure Price Quote is capable of. Specifically, in this video, we will be tackling services and manufacturing in the construction industry. Stay tuned for other videos on other industry types. Today, I will be playing the role of a sales representative who is on site with an opportunity, and I am working through quoting and utilizing NetSuite CPQ or the configurator to build an estimate. NetSuite CPQ is 100% native to the NetSuite ERP, which means all records, fields, data, forms, etc. can be interrogated by the configurator and used for such things as calculations, formulas, values, and other data points. George, our opportunity, runs a family-owned real estate business which rents out a number of homes and apartment units on his street. For his most recent home, he reached out to us to inquire about the price of one of our premium in-ground pools. As the sales rep, it'll be my job today to configure the desired end product, i.e. the pool, along with the possibility of upselling on some pool attachments and needed machinery such as cleaners. In addition, I will be calculating the cost of the components and labor of this pool product behind the scenes so our company knows the profit of the job. The configurator can be utilized on a tablet, perhaps as I am right now with the opportunity sitting right next to me, or on a laptop with the opportunity on the phone. I'll start on my estimate and we'll launch the configurator from this NetSuite transaction. George has asked for a rectangle pool and has a large enough yard size to occupy a 12 by 20 foot pool. As I'm making these selections in the configurator, such as the 42 steel industry leading panel, another selection appears for pool wall braces, and this contains only the compatible braces for the 42 steel. This is utilizing the configurator's smart logic through a rule-based engine, all happening dynamically in the background. So as the sales rep, I don't need to reference any internal spreadsheets, call other departments for other compatibility validations, or require memorization of the manufacturing components. I can just focus on getting the deal sold. I will make my selections and move on to the next section. After the previous tab has been populated, Liners now appears. I will show George the tablet and ask him what his preferences are. On his last home that he was renting, George bought the Ocean Pearl, and this time he wants to go with a different design, so we will do the Cambridge Aquarius. After making that selection, we now can fill out the information for the liner, the measurements, which our on-site team already captured earlier in the day when they came to take those measurements. At this point, I will ask George if he would like a warranty on this pool, and he says yes. That is pulling dynamically from the NetSuite Item Master and setting the price from the item record. All the while, that gets added to the summary. Notice above that we have what we call validations in red. Validations are very important as they error-proof the system and tells the user what fields are still left that need to be populated in order for the estimate configuration to be eligible to be saved and submitted back to that NetSuite transaction. We'll continue to the Slides tab. George informed me that he wants one slide in a certain part of the pool which we can fill in later, but I will present them the options, only showing the ones that are compatible with that specific pool that we selected. In the past, George has had really good success with the Typhoon slide, and he asked for that one. And as I have made that selection, that too gets added to the summary and our total price. We've told George that it's highly recommended that for each pool that a customer purchases, that at least one pool cleaner be sold with it. We'll go with the Dolphin, and we can even adjust the quantity. Because George is sitting right next to us, we are currently showing him a total price of around $13,000. It currently falls within his budget, and we will proceed with the configuration. At this point, all the other inputs required are for me, the sales rep, to do. And at this point, George has picked out his pool liners, cleaners, slides, and design. We will then stop sharing the tablet screen with him and input the remainder of the information needed to complete the estimate. In the cost calculator tab, I can input the labor information so our company knows how much it will cost us to go on site to assemble the pool, and this will fit into our total sales price of the job as well as the profit. The service dropdown here represent the type of personnel needed for the on-site service. They are driven by pre-existing NetSuite records, which contain our crew, rates, and availability. And with that, CPQ can flow natively through FSM, Field Service Management, helping everyone capture the data real time. So after I've selected that crew service for the on-site dig installation, I will populate the number of representatives. And because I've already discussed this opportunity with our company's crew manager, we know how many reps and number of days this job would take and the number of hours required per day. I'll add a second crew for the slide assembly. And we could see that we now have a running tally total of the total labor cost for this job. Next, we'll go to the End Item Detail tab, which just some final inputs are required that we can input for the configuration. Because we've done business with George several times in the past, we know he's an important customer of ours, and we hope to continue our business with him in the future, so we will give him a 20% discount. We can also fill out some freeform text fields if we want to map the text to the line item on the transaction. Perhaps we wanted to put in some custom notes or other information on what will ultimately be our assembly item. There are still a few validations currently being presented to us stating that we must do a few other inputs in order for this to be eligible. We'll go to our measurements. And we saw as I just inputted another field, one validation went away. And now both are gone. Now we have our final configuration estimate with all the fields populated and our total price with the discount. At any time, we can audit the configuration and look at our materials. This is a list of the components that make up our BOM, our bill of material for the end pool assembly item. Those are dynamically triggered based on other rules in the configurator. Routings, also known as routing steps in CPQ, are the physical steps that go into the assembly of that finished good. And those are tied to our manufacturing work centers and cost templates within NetSuite. So we can see and calculate runtime, run rate, setup time, so on and so forth. So part of the configuration is us assembling the pool parts in one of our warehouses through different routings and routing steps. We understand how much that will cost, the labor for that, and we understand how much the labor will be for the on-site installation and other components that go into making up this finished good. At any point, I can also utilize favorites. I could save this as a favorite, share it with other sales reps, and I could see other reps' favorites as well to later come back to save time. For now, we have no more validations. Let's hit submit and close. Back on the estimate transaction, we can see that we have our 3 line items. We have our main pool assembly item, which we created dynamically, actually through item creation. There are a few different ways that we can go about handling the item that is being output. We can create a new item, or to avoid item bloat, we can use template items, like a template assembly, what is referred to as a base generic product, to output as a what-if scenario. That way, we're not recreating new item records each and every time a sales rep is submitting, because we may not know if we are going to be closing the deal at that point. But we know it's George. He's a great customer. We'll likely get the deal. So we'll go ahead and create that item to inform our manufacturing team that they will need to perhaps create a work order at some point. We also have what we call breakout items. In addition to the main item, our warranty item we selected, along with the pool cleaner. The pool slide that we selected is rolled up into the assembly as a component. Stay tuned for other NetSuite CPQ videos, including other service companies, heavy manufacturers, apparel, retail, so on and so forth. Thank you for watching this demonstration. If you have any questions, please reach out to Brian Park Consulting.